This is a HeadGum podcast.
You got mail.
Hi, I'm Millie Tamaris.
And I'm Elise Morales.
And this is
Go Touch Grass,
the podcast where we log in.
so you can log off.
Elise and I are two chronically online chronically online comedians, and on this pod we break down the week in internet discourse, viral memes, TikTok trends, and niche influencer drama so you can do literally anything else with your time.
Literally anything else. And if you want to hear more, we've got a Go Touch Grass Patreon already up and running with tons more content weekly, a Discord community, and our spin-off series Search History, where we go back and break down a viral discourse from the past. This week's Patreon.
This week's Patreon's really good.
I walk Millie through the truly, deeply disturbing, bizarre videos that Melania Trump has been posting to her Twitter feed ahead of her book release. She is releasing a book. What's in the book?
We don't know.
We don't really know.
We don't know if it's a picture book. We don't know if it's what's going on. People have commented. Have you seen the comments on the thing? And someone's like, because we're like, we don't want to buy the book.
Yeah.
Because we don't want to buy the book. We want to look at it. Someone's like, why don't you go to your local public library and see if they have it? And I will tell you right now, I'd rather to go to the Brooklyn Public Library and ask if they have Melania Trump's biography.
Do you have Melania by Melania?
Yeah, in Bed-Stuy, I'd rather die.
Yeah, so either way, guys, we do a full deep dive, a lot of weird stuff going on Melania's Twitter, and we break it all down for you on the Patreon this week. And reminder that you can buy individual episodes on the Patreon. So if you're like, I'm not sure if I'm ready to subscribe, but I do want to hear all of this weird Melania stuff, you can just pay like $5 and just get that episode.
You could pay $5, or you could get a yearly membership. People have been doing that.
I know.
For a whole year membership, it's like $52. $52 of a year of Million Elise.
It is.
What a fucking bargain.
It is.
Don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review. We love your reviews. We need more of them. But literally the best review is to tell your friends. Tell your friends about us. Tag us in a little story. We'll repost it.
We'll repost.
Tell your friends there are these two mentally ill Hispanic women.
Mentally ill Hispanic women, ADHD.
Yeah, guess what? It's
forward.
Hispanic Heritage Month. Someone's like, are you guys going to do something for Hispanic Heritage Month? And it's like, every day is Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah.
For the mentally ill Hispanic women of the Go Touch Grass podcast.
Yeah, we're living Hispanic Heritage Month each day.
Our ancestors came to this country so we could talk about the girl who got a bad haircut from the and botched highlights from this guy in LA.
Yeah, the Kylie Jenner lookalike. Okay, guys. I was about to say, speaking of a Kylie Jenner lookalike, but I don't think she would want to be. Kylie Jenner wishes.
She claims and she says, and I agree, Rosario Dawson lookalike.
Rosario Dawson lookalike for sure.
I get it a lot.
Rosario Dawson lookalike with us here. Guys, our guest today is a comedian, writer, and actress. She did betray us by moving to the West Coast, but it's okay because she's here today. She has worked for The Onion, Reductress, and her writing's been featured in the New York Times, Vulture, New York Magazine, and Adult Swim. And you also may recognize her from the PBS kids show Zoom. Everyone, please welcome into your ears Taylor Garron.
Hey everyone! Hi.
Wow.
I have the lips that Kylie Jenner wishes that she was.
It
born
is.
with.
Well,
It is.
you got a lot of things Kylie
that's
Jenner
true.
wishes she
That's
had,
very, very true.
including melanated skin.
And I didn't even have to work for it.
And you didn't even have to work
I was
for
just
it.
born.
Yeah, you have naturally what she has to pay a
It's
lot
so
of money
crazy.
to maintain.
It's so crazy what you can get when you have black parents.
Well, two black parents too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Damn. Black on both ends.
Black on both ends. Taylor, black on both
Black
ends.
on both ends sounds like something our grasshole last week would potentially be Googling.
Oh, Mark Robinson, Nude
Yeah.
Africa.
Yeah.
Yes. Because people, first of all, people are like, how come Mark Robinson hasn't helped like the people of North Carolina recover from Hurricane Helene? And I'm like, the Nude Africa message board is popping off right now.
He's kind of helping in his own way.
He's kind of helping in his own way by getting it banned. Taylor, you're a hilarious comedian.
Thank you.
Who is probably also most known for your Twitter.
I would say, yeah.
What is what is your thoughts and feelings on the way that Twitter has evolved? Do you still see, what's your philosophy for it? Do you still see it as a useful tool for comedy?
So, okay.
What's going on with Twitter?
January
Twitter?
1st of this year, 2024, I was like, I'm done. I'm logging off because Elon bought it.
Yeah.
And it's gotten bad. I think objectively bad. And so I was like, let me get out of here. It's sucking my time, and it's not even fun like it used to be. I feel like it used to be like actually interesting. You could
I
get,
disagree, but it could.
Really? I
well,
thought it was fun.
it's not as fun as often.
Sure.
But when it hits,
I hear you. I do hear you there. But like, and then of course I also, speaking of mental illness, I have a couple of my own. And my ADHD was like, just get it back. You won't spend that much time on it, which is a lie that I was telling myself. So now I'm back, and it just doesn't hit like it used to.
It doesn't hit.
But I do feel like there's still little crumbs. For instance, I'm not over Mudang. I'm still not over her.
No, we'll never be over Mudang.
No, I feel like it's making me officially a boomer. I'm like sending all my friends pictures of this little hippo, and they're like, "Okay, we get it." Like,
I feel like Mudang is very millennial. I think that boomers are sending each other AI generated pictures of babies.
That's so true.
In like lettuce costumes.
Yeah,
they're not doing Mudang.
That's true, and she's just kind of saving my mental health right now. But in terms of like like, I log on and I see like my Twitter feed is like racist, misogynist, anti-Semitic, like it's, and then I'm like, first of all, why are these the ones being fed to me?
Well, you got to stop following some people.
I guess. You know, I knew when I started my burner account, like
it was going to
racist, misogynist, anti-Semite, it was going to like leak into my regular account. But yeah, I guess it's just like, it feels so bleak on there. I see the N-word like way more frequently than I used to. I feel like when I used to see it, it was like, oh, this is kind of funny. Like, you're just like mad and you're spiraling and saying the N-word.
You're talking about the hard ER.
The hard ER, yeah. But yeah, I've definitely gotten jobs off of like shit I said on Twitter, and no longer is that the case because it's like it's going the way of the dodo, I feel. But yeah, I don't know. There's still value in it. Yeah, you know.
I do feel like it's still the number one place for people to like put funny written content. You know what I mean? It's like Threads is people yelling at each other. It's a very weird place.
They're really trying to get me on Threads, and I just can't do it.
Threads is not funny. Like, it's an incredibly self-serious place. People are not having fun on Threads. And like, people, you know, some people will like put text on a TikTok that is a joke, but it's just, no one has truly replaced being able to just write a funny joke.
What about
100%.
Blue Sky?
Oh my God.
No, Blue Sky don't got the swag.
Sometimes I see a screenshot of Blue Sky and I'm like, who is this for?
Yeah.
Like,
well, journalists. But I feel like Black people are still on Twitter.
Yeah,
and 100%. They're still doing
Black
Twitter.
Twitter is still popular, but even that is like devolving. I'm like, oh, we're talking about who gets their plate first again. We're talking about who sits in the front seat, who's like dating. God.
Who's eating ass, $200 dates. But I feel like those will always be.
That's true.
It like in the way that like because those are regular conversations on Black Twitter are always like, who will you serve first, your man or your mom or your kids?
Like, it's like,
and or like, if you don't spend at least $200, it's not a date. Like, those are iconic conversations,
and they happen every 6 months.
And they happen every 6 months, and like huge debates.
Yep.
I feel like now it's like, what is your baby mama doing with the $200 a month you give her for child support? And then it's all these. Like,
I saw one the other day. It was like, when do I tell my daughter that like I'm giving child support to her mom? And I'm like, what? Why are you? First of all, why are you consulting the internet about this?
Because this one girl's like, Dad, can I get a computer? And then he's like, I should tell her that I give her mom $200 a month, and like she should
also like $200.
I know, no, it's crazy.
That's so you could not have tortured that information out of me. I'm sorry, that's so embarrassing.
Yeah,
that's actually maybe my favorite thing about Twitter is that people admit things online on Twitter that I'm like, oh, Michael wouldn't tell my therapist this.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't tell my therapist.
And you just posted it.
You could have done. I saw a TikTok that made me think that, and I almost added it as a cursed content for today, but it was so long and so gross and weird that I
was it the white guy talking about STDs?
It was.
Yes,
Millie.
I love
this
it.
White man.
And he's like,
he's an older
40s.
white guy. He's like
40s or 50s.
He's in his 40s or 50s. He's in, I think, like a parking lot.
Yeah.
Talking directly to camera, and he's like, I've had jock itch on my crotch for like a year and a half, and he's saying like I can't get rid of it. He uses the word fungal shell. to describe his own
I
penis.
just had a visceral reaction
The
to
biggest,
that.
the first comment is this black girl who commented, "I just be listening to everyone's business."
That's really what it is. I spend so much time minding my own business as like a rule in my day-to-day life that when I log onto Twitter, I'm like,
Yeah, I
let me
can't.
get into stuff. Let me get nosy real
Social
fast.
media isn't for minding your own business
No.
because they're
No.
putting their business out there. And so I did watch the fungal shell video about this
Of
man.
course.
And I really thought hard about whether or not I was going to bring it in full to the podcast. But
Yeah.
I think me describing it is enough for all of you guys. If you want to look it up, I'm sure you can find it. He talks for a long time about this. Something's wrong with his penis.
The comments are so funny.
Something's really seriously wrong with his penis. And he is openly talking about it just out loud, kind of loose in a parking lot. Like,
Yeah, well,
what's going on?
but somebody was like, there's this like popular Twitter that's like, what do we call like tweets that have like culturally shifted the way that we think about culture?
Load-bearing tweets.
Load-bearing tweets. There was a load-bearing tweets where it's like, don't stop sharing your business. We're on season 7 of your shit.
Yeah.
We want to know how it ends.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate when people stop because there's been so many like live posted breakups. But then the thing is, I have friends who've like just really gone in on like social media and whatever. And then I see them in person and they're like, hey, what's up? Like if
You're like,
it's happening, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
That's how they get it
I
out.
read those tweets, girl. I know you're not okay. Like,
But I guess some people just say it and then walk away.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, God bless that man. Okay, Taylor, we've got one more question for you, and then we're going to just dive right into this
can't
episode.
wait.
Classic question. You've been performing on the West Coast and the East Coast.
yep.
Do you notice audience differences, reception to joke
Oh, boy.
differences? What are the vibes?
100% I do. And like the main difference that I have personally noticed is that the audiences in Los Angeles do not like my suicide jokes. And it's like, it's never like, I'm going to kill myself. It's always like, if climate change gets too bad, I'm out of here. Like, I'm not, if I can't use the AC, I'm not dealing with this.
Yeah.
And people in Brooklyn are like, hell yeah. Like, obviously, like, sometimes I like miss a train and I'm like, well, that might be it for me.
Yeah.
You know?
This might
But
be the
people
final straw.
Exactly. People in LA, I'm like, yeah, if climate change gets too bad, like, I'm not doing this. People in LA are like, just go outside. Like, try yoga, you know, like they take it seriously, and in like a way that it's like, I respect that they take mental health seriously because we all need to, but like, you're at a comedy show.
Yeah.
I'm on stage.
Yeah.
I've had one tequila soda. It is 8:30 p.m. We're in like the courtyard of Stories Books and Cafe. Shout out Stories. Like we can laugh about this. They're a little more like serious.
Yeah.
I guess.
I feel like gallows humor is an important part of life as a New Yorker, whereas pretending everything's okay is an important part of life as a Los Angelino.
I don't even know what gallows humor is. I feel like an idiot.
Oh, it's like a term for basically when you make fun of dark stuff. It's like, I think it kind of refers to like if you're making jokes on your way to the gallows, to being hanged. So it's it's like you kind of like, it's like making light of dark shit
Yeah,
that's
of
going
course.
on.
We live in like buildings that should be condemned.
100%. You think that actually LA would be more open to that? I'm like, I get woken up by an earthquake like a couple times a month.
Yeah.
And you don't see how bleak that is?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want to
Like-
live in the sunshine.
And you know what? I flew in literally this morning and like
Wow.
we like landed and there was like
Bi-coastal. Hashtag bi-coastal.
hashtag bicoastal. There was rain on the windows and I was like, I haven't seen rain in like a long time.
Wow.
And so I understand why everyone is like chronically like can't take a joke over there because like their dopamine levels are like so fucking high already. They don't need to laugh. They're already there.
Yeah, they don't
Yeah.
want it brought down.
They don't want it brought down in here. Here the party's
They're like
down
bring
in
it
the
on.
depths.
People wading through fucking sorry, am I not allowed to say that? Sorry.
Oh,
People,
you can say whatever
hi,
you want,
girl.
girl. I just talked about a man who described his penis as having a fungal shell.
Jock itch.
if I can't get into podcast and say the F slur, not the F slur. The
Wow,
F word.
wow.
I'm like, okay, Taylor.
No, sorry, not
wait,
the F
hold on.
slur.
Let's pull it back.
Well,
That's not my-
he said bi-coastal, probably bisexual in there.
That's what I'm
but
saying.
yeah.
A lot of slurs are my slurs.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
that is
yeah.
not one of them.
A lot of slurs are.
A lot of slurs
also
are my
what Kylie
slurs.
Jenner wants.
That's so true. Oh, actually, that's a good point because LA doesn't like they don't like the N word either, and I don't. I use it sparingly.
Like black people saying the N-word. Well,
yeah,
well,
yeah, like I don't know.
It's weird there. Yeah, it's weird
just
there.
it feels like I don't know.
It's weird
a strange place.
because you know, a lot of Mexican and a lot of Asian people love saying the N-word in LA.
They love, like, people in LA love saying it. They just don't love hearing it.
Hearing it from someone who should actually say it.
I've been black for years. I've been black for decades even.
Yeah.
Like, I can't,
well, how long, Miss Kamala? Because have you been just black as?
Speaking of
Ooh,
Kamala,
yes,
what a
we have
segue.
an update on our September 10th episode with Ariel Leedy. Elise predicted that Vice President Kamala Harris would be a guest on Call Her Daddy.
I did.
Ariel was like, I don't believe it. I said, I'm bought in. I said, I believe it. And guess what? Her interview, Kamala's interview, came out on October 6th.
Yep.
People are very divided on it. Some people say it was good political strategy. A lot of Alex Cooper's fans are like, this is bullshit, whatever. Alex Cooper says she invited Trump. He declined. There's a lot of stuff, but we want you to know, you heard it here first.
You heard it here.
People are DMing us, was it this podcast that you heard it, that you predicted? It's like, what other podcast would it be?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. No, I love you. Please.
I really thought long and hard whether I wanted to bring this prediction to the pod, and I said, I want Grass Nation to know that I think I want them to be mentally prepared for this news to come out, because I think it will happen. And it did happen. I haven't watched or listened to the podcast, but I did watch her little, like, Alex Cooper's little intro to it. And I thought she did a good job, like, basically she gives a little speech where she's like, I know that my audience is politically divided. She says the thing about,
because she's originally from Barstool, which is definitely Republican coded.
Yeah.
Talk about people who love saying the N-word.
I'm from Boston too. I can say that because I'm from.
Yeah, you're also from Boston.
Area.
That's a slur you can say.
100%.
I'm an asshole, if
Bostonian.
you will. Asshole, Bostonian.
She says the thing about how she's like, we reached out to Trump and he never got back to us, but like, if Trump wants to come on and talk, basically the main crux of her speech at the beginning is she's like, I think she's trying to get ahead of people being like, you didn't ask her about the border. You didn't ask her about the economy. And she's like, listen, this podcast is about like women's sexuality, women's issues. That's what we talk about here. So that's what this interview is about. And she's like, I'm not qualified to ask Kamala Harris about fracking. And I'm like, word, that's actually, that's legit. Alex Cooper, I think you're right there. And she was like, listen, if Donald Trump wants to come on this podcast and talk to me about women's issues, he's invited to do so, but he has not replied.
And a lot of people are just saying that like, oh, it was great because you actually got to know Kamala. You got to learn more about Kamala Harris than we've ever seen. And it's also like, because a lot of interviews, it's tough because it's like, on one point you want to celebrate, journalism is dying and all this stuff. And there's all these cuts and stuff. And there are people who are not qualified journalists taking the position of journalists and aren't trained and stuff. But on the other hand, a lot of these journalism interviews are about asking these tough gotcha questions. Are you really black? What is you used to say fracking, you used to this, that.
That's a gotcha question.
And by a white person asking too, like, okay, bitch. But then people are saying like on the Alex Cooper thing, it's like actually asking Kamala about her life and about like people can walk away knowing stuff. So that's like kind of the good thing.
And that's why I think it's good that she did the expectation setting at the beginning, because she was kind of like, I'm a podcaster. I'm going to ask her the questions I normally
I'm not
ask.
a political pundit.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to ask the questions I normally ask. I'm not personally a member of the daddy gang, so I don't, like, I'm not a Call Her Daddy listener, but I might give the Kamala one a listen.
So I did a show on Friday, and I did a bunch of jokes about Kamala and Call Her Daddy, and I have to say, like, we say a lot of stuff, but like this is the domino effect of what Susan B. Anthony, this is suffrage, right? It's like the political power of white women in this country can never be understated again.
100%.
Anyway, are you ready for the discourse?
I'm ready for the discourse.
I'm so excited for this. I went deep. Today's discourse takes us to the deep, dark world of tea talk.
Wow. Like tea as in the drinkable, like the beverage of
Specifically the world of tea service.
Okay.
Tea service. Before we dive in, Taylor, Elise, have you ever gone for tea service? Gone to a tea house? Participated in tea time?
Definitely when I was like young, like little, there was like a little spot like my hometown, where if you were like a little girl having a birthday party, they had like little dresses you could dress up in. They'd serve you tea and like little sandwiches and stuff. But
nice.
Yeah, I've engaged in some tea time. I was saying to Millie before we got on that when I was a kid and I lived in Los Angeles, the local mall had like a tea place in it. So me and my mom and my sister would go, which was super cute. And now, Deborah Morales, she loves a tea situation. So we did one when we were gonna go shopping for my wedding dress. Me and my mom and my sister, we did like a little tea before, a little cute tea moment. So yeah, I've engaged in some tea time.
Yeah, me too. I have to say, I am a fan. I think it's a great, fun thing to do with friends that like a lot of online complaints, talking about like the same Black Twitter complaints. I would say the same. There's a lot of online complaints like, there's nothing to do except for get drunk, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's a really fun thing to do.
Yeah.
That doesn't involve drinking.
Yeah.
And I love me some tea time. So at risk of making George Washington roll in his grave due to the British influence. I mean, George Washington is doing Simone Biles flips by hearing 3 women talk, 2 of them Black. Women have rights.
That man has slaves' teeth in his mouth.
Yeah, exactly.
He's been rolling in his grave.
He's been doing all kinds of somersaults, triple decker, Vladimir Vashenko, whatever. Anyway. But I want to give you guys context in tea in general because this will help inform our conversation.
Tea on the tea.
Yeah.
Tea on the tea. So there are 2 types of tea services.
Okay.
There's high tea and afternoon/low tea.
Okay.
So afternoon tea, the origins of tea. In the mid 1800s, as kerosene lamps became more common in wealthy homes, it became cool to eat dinner at like later, like 8 or 9 p.m. That's like usually whatever. And then people would eat breakfast in the morning. So later in the day, they're like hungry. So one duchess was like, let's do this meal in the middle of the day, like around 4 or 3. And that became known as afternoon tea or low tea. And it's what most people think of when they hear tea or even high tea. And it involves a lot of like manners, lace, and dainty foods. It's typically served in the mid-afternoon and it's traditionally served on low tables. Hence its 2 names.
Okay.
Low tea or afternoon tea. An afternoon tea menu is light and focuses on scones and finger sandwiches. Marmalade, lemon curds, herbed butter may also be included.
Yeah, I'm loving all of this.
Yeah.
I love a cucumber sandwich.
Ooh,
cucumber
so
cream cheese sandwich. Clotted cream is also a big part of this conversation.
Not for me.
Favorite teas for afternoon include black teas like Earl Grey and Assam, as well as herbal teas like peppermint and chamomile. Historically, afternoon tea is for the girls, is the ladies' special occasion. There's like, you said the little girls and stuff. As opposed to high tea.
Okay.
Traditionally, high tea was a working class meal served on a high table at the end of the workday, shortly after 5 p.m. High tea, again, was more working class and family meal than it was an elite social gathering. And high tea menus include like more hearty meals like meat dishes such as steak and kidney pie, fish dishes such as pickled salmon, baked goods as crumpets, or in Ireland, barmbrack, vegetables such as potatoes or onion cakes, and other heavy foods like baked beans and cheesy casseroles, and also the finger foods too.
Yeah, so it's supposed to nourish you after you've been out working.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
not just a social occasion. It's like also eat.
Yeah.
It's like also I'm fucking hungry.
Yeah.
I'm hungry and I want to get full. So today's discourse involves a creator by the name of the Queen of Afternoon Tea.
Oh, there's something for everyone out there.
There's something for everyone, and I will say I've been following this bitch for a while.
Wow.
And she's based in Ontario, Canada, and she goes to different tea rooms all over North America and makes videos and reviews of them. This is taken from her website. My mom, grandma, and I just love going for traditional tea. We love the different little tea sandwiches and yummy flaky scones with heavenly clotted / Devonshire cream. We enjoy visiting different tea rooms to see how they present their high tea and what special touches they will include. Will the tea services match? Will their tea include an appetizer? Will they use loose leaf or tea bags? How close to authentic will their clotted cream come? This is what makes it fun, just to see exactly how the traditional tea is being served around the province. We take in several choices of tea per year and enjoy the experience to the max. Won't you join us? So that's her like little blurb. That's her thing. I wonder if like tea and tea time is maybe more of a thing in Canada because they have a stronger relationship with the UK.
They're literally a commonwealth.
Yeah,
right?
they're a commonwealth. Yeah. So I wonder if that's like also a thing too, if it's more culturally.
Didn't they have the queen on their money? Or am I
well, yeah, they do. The king.
Well,
it used to be.
Yeah.
It used to be the queen. Now it's the king.
Woke. And
I know.
now
Until
the queen
woke,
is the king.
Exactly. Okay, so she has been deemed the Keith Lee of tea rooms.
Okay.
She's the Keith Lee of tea rooms. She has
Keith Lee of tea.
Yeah, she has very specific standards for tea. Ooh. Her series is called The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the Yummy of Afternoon Tea. Whereas Keith Lee got his 16.1 million followers reviewing mom and pop restaurants and ordering wings and shit. Like whatever. Queen of Afternoon Tea goes to different tea rooms where she lives and where she travels and has certain standards because tea service is about an experience. She judges the place. These are like her points. Because I feel like Keith Lee, like the barometers are different. And also he eats in his car. And stuff.
He's eating takeout out of styrofoam in his car, and he's only eating mac and cheese. And
exactly. So she goes in, she judges the places for their service, decor, ambiance, variety of selection, how the food tastes, what are the dishes in China like, how fresh the ingredients are, what you get versus what you pay for, and loose leaf versus bag tea. Like
so
those
there's
are
like a rubric.
Yeah, she has a rubric. In the past year, she's reviewed 55 tea rooms.
Okay.
Oh.
So again, I've been following her for a while, and like people who've been following her for a while, she has about 180,000 followers on TikTok, but her videos get a lot of views. She has very strong pet peeves and stuff. It's not only that she views that, but she has like very strong pet peeves that, we're come back to, but
I was going to say, I need to know.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So she strongly believes that if you go for tea service, your tea should come first and you should have at least 1 or 2 cups or sip it before your food comes, right? Then she says each guest should get at least 2 scones per person.
Okay.
That all tea services should serve clotted cream with a preference for it being fresh, but she will accept shelf-stable clotted cream. Each guest should have their own condiments. So like shared jellies and jams and shit. That's an out.
Personal marmalade.
Personal marmalade, exactly.
Your own personal marmalade.
At least 2 of each dessert. But she thinks that there should be 4 desserts.
Okay.
Right? And
this
also
is outside of the scone.
Outside of the scones, yes. Scones are not dessert. Okay. So usually it's 3 tiers, right? The bottom tier is savory. Okay. The middle tier is scones and cream, and the top tier is desserts.
Okay.
That's how it goes. Like that's and that's why they start big, it gets medium, and then it goes small at the top. She fucking hates macaroons. If you give her macaroons, you better be fucking prepared. Okay.
Is there a reason for that?
She thinks that macaroons are a cop out. A lot of people get it from Costco. They're not making the She believes strongly that if you're a tea house, you should be making your shit in house. At least your desserts in house. Yeah. And a lot of people just buy macaroons in bulk. They don't provide much. It's like a cop out. She doesn't like it. She personally does not like salmon, so she'll always get a replacement for that. She prefers loose leaf tea. Like that's
I get that.
Yeah, loose
I feel like
tea.
if you're a tea house, you should be coming correct with the tea.
Yeah,
100%.
Loose leaf.
Yeah. And prefers fresh scones. So this is how she does it though, right? Keith Lee has to eat in his car because everyone fucking knows him now. Yeah. And his family, whatever. She doesn't use her real name. She doesn't reveal her face or her voice. Whoa. She uses the granny filter on TikTok. She's like young, but she uses the granny voice filter and shoots everything with like POV, so you can see who she's like dining with, but you don't know what she looks like.
So when you work at a tea house,
yes,
anyone could be the queen of afternoon tea.
Exactly. So there's so many videos now but based on the situation where people are like, wait, somebody doesn't like salmon. Wait, that's her. Oh my God. So let's watch a couple minutes of one of her videos to get kind of a vibe check. And then I want to hear what you guys think.
Okay.
So excited.
A quick jaunt across from Philly into New Jersey for our 5th afternoon tea in 5 days. The Good, the Bad, the Ugly, and the Yummy of Afternoon Tea, Haddon Heights, New Jersey edition. Our final tea tour stop on this trip took us over the bridge from Philly to Hayden Heights, New Jersey to have afternoon tea for two at Jane's Tea House. Stick around until the end for my star rating. As always, we'll start with the good. We were able to get a last-minute same-day reservation, so that was nice as we didn't need to plan ahead. Place was dead and we had the whole thing to ourselves. We were served an iced tea to start, which was nice because it was so hot, and we got to choose a pot of hot tea each. There were ample teas to choose from, and it looked like loose-leaf tea put into tea bags by the staff, so that was good. I chose the caramel cherry cheesecake, and my husband chose strawberry daiquiri. Both were black teas and both tasted fine. There was a starter pasta salad with chunks of cheese and olives in it. My husband ate most of his. It was fine for me, but I was saving myself for the full tea experience. Starters rarely impress me at afternoon tea. Then our tier was served. I'll be giving you the food details this time. Each guest got a cornbread quiche tart, a little chicken salad wrap, a cucumber sandwich, and a peach and ham sandwich. These 4 savories weren't great, but they weren't horrible. The cucumber sandwich didn't have cream cheese. I think it might have been margarine on the bread because it was kind of yellow. I did eat it, though. The peach sandwich was canned peaches, so of course fresh peaches would have been preferable. I couldn't even taste the ham with it being such a thin slice. The cornbread quiche tasted very good. It was my favorite bite, and my husband let me eat his too. Thanks, hubby. The chicken salad wrap was fine and small. Next, we like to eat the scone tier. Each guest got 2 scones, which I do prefer. One was a lemon poppy seed, and one was a savory caprese scone.
So, thoughts?
The granny voice filter is very it's a very interesting choice.
Mm-hmm. I get why she does it.
Yes.
But I'm like, there's not.
Yeah, I'm like, I was being like, is there another way to not use this crazy AI voice?
You know those like the way they cover up voices when they're doing like exclusive like true crime interviews, but the person doesn't want their like face or voice revealed and it's like super low and like distorted. I actually think that would be much funnier.
Well, I think a lot of people didn't know that it wasn't her voice until recently.
Okay, well, then I'm going to have to say, if you can't tell that that's an AI voice, it's a go touch grass moment.
It's a go touch grass moment for sure.
Like that, we need to learn how to recognize AI, and that, to me, if the voice is like weirdly halting and like strange.
They're pronouncing a really common word like strange incorrectly.
Well, she's also Canadian, so.
Well, then, and you never know what's going to come out of their mouths.
Or sorry, you know.
You never know what they're going to say up there.
Okay, so content-wise, guys, any thoughts? How are you feeling? How do you guys feel about afternoon tea? How do you feel about her content?
To me, it's like such a funny microcosm of like what TikTok is, where it's like somebody who's just like really into something going somewhere and being really into it, but it's like a very niche thing that I wouldn't have even thought about. So that's why part of the reason I love TikTok. So I'm going to say like 10 out of 10 content wise for me, but like watching her peel apart those sandwiches, there was something like not, I don't know how to just. She's a very interesting character. She's a very interesting character.
I'm in agreement. I'm like, these are, it seems like a wholesome activity. Obviously, like she has critiques and stuff, but I don't think she is unnecessarily critical.
No, she's being rude.
I agree that the cucumber sandwich should have some
cream cheese, margarine.
Also, like a canned peach and ham sandwich.
Girl,
y'all weren't even trying. That looked disgusting. I'm sorry. I would have been pissed.
All right.
Yeah. So I mean, I feel like she does a good job of the thing she sets out to do.
100%. And like, sorry, you know that she's out there. Tea houses.
Yeah.
You've been put on alert. You've been put on notice. You need to do better.
Yeah, the thing is, right, she does it in this was her in Philly and New Jersey. She did Florida. She's in Vegas now. Like, she's going to different places.
Yeah.
And okay. So now let's get to the drama.
The drama. The tea.
Now the tea, if you will, exactly. Cupcake Cafe. Exactly.
Not the CCC.
So the queen gets tea service at this place called the Cupcake Cafe at the Mapleview Shopping Center in Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
She starts off the video by saying, this might be her worst review she's ever done. So again, she went to this place, Cupcake Cafe, and was disappointed in general. I'm good. So this is what we're going to do.
Okay.
I'm going to recap her experience at Cupcake Cafe. And you guys are going to ding. Now that you know her standards, now that you know what afternoon tea is and everything, you're going to ding when you feel like points are going to get deducted.
Okay.
This is,
okay.
I'm so excited.
I'm really excited
I'm
about
so
this. I love a little game.
Yes, yes. So, right, it's called Good, Bad, Ugly, and the Yummy
I hate
of
that word.
afternoon tea.
Yummy.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Okay,
But
I
that's
won't
not
say
my-
it again.
yeah.
I won't. I'm sorry, I said it.
Okay. So she said, for good, she said the place actually served clotted cream. And it tasted like the shelf-stable one, but still good, right? Okay. But there wasn't enough to cover the scones.
Ding.
So,
Dang.
Dang.
Yeah.
She said the afternoon tea was incorrectly called high tea. Let's focus on this because we will come back to this.
So they were sitting at a short table.
Everything else was afternoon tea, but on the website, it said high tea.
Wow.
You know,
ding, ding, ding.
That's a big ding. And I will also say that my mom often calls it high tea when I realize now, I didn't know until today, until I became educated, that it's actually an afternoon tea. But I think in people's minds, high tea sounds fancier to them because they think they don't know, as I didn't know, that it's referring to a table height situation.
Yeah, that's very true.
So there's this place that I really like called Brooklyn High Low, and it's a tea house.
Oh, cute.
And what they do is like you can get different packages, and the high tea is basically everything that comes in the low tea, but you pay extra, and they give you like a soup and like probably a meal on top of and like whatever, like a quiche or something more hearty, and then you get the thing. But like, if again, the whole point is like, if they're saying high tea, then you expect to be filled.
Yeah.
Because
That's
it's
like a meal.
A meal.
Yeah.
Table heights and all that stuff, like whatever. But a lot of places will say like, add in the high tea option as a way, but you know that you're going to get a meal.
So it's more about more food, and then back in the day, like what time of day that
and
tea
like,
was taking place.
you know, right, like bar stool, like like high top
high top
tables.
Yeah.
So I think now those are the two distincting things in culture now.
Okay.
At
So
the same
you
time, though, it's like if she goes to a place in Canada and they don't even have the distinction between like the tables, it's like when you go to a place in New Jersey, I understand because we actually famously dump all of our tea into Boston Harbor Hall.
We don't know tea down here.
We say kind of fuck tea, but like we're just coming around. But like, yeah, I don't know. I think Canada should be better about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so first she said, the Queen said she had to order and prepay for the whole thing in advance. You have to pick the packages and the menu is given to you in advance. It's not unheard of. Again, when I did it at Brooklyn High Low, you got to pick. One of my friends is gluten-free, so there was a gluten-free option for so that sometimes tea places like to have it so that everything is ready, you know? But it's not, preferable to like having someone there and ordering and asking questions and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And they had the option to tip in advance.
This is you mean advance like before they even got there, not like you get the menu, they pick an order, and then everything comes out.
No,
before
I'm
they're even
talking
sitting
about
down.
like you have to book a table
You're making
online, a reservation, and you have to pay for it.
Gotcha. Okay.
And you can tip when you're making that thing. So
That's insane.
okay. The experience without tip was $55 Canadian, or about $42 US, give or take the exchange rate. We do the fucking work on this podcast. I looked up August 2024 exchange rate. Okay. So that's how much it cost, right? $42. They got to choose from a tea tray, not a menu, but a tea tray, and there were only 7 options. She said,
Ding.
Ding, ding. Like,
the Queen of Afternoon Tea says that's not sufficient enough because the tea house only had or Cupcake Cafe only had one non-caffeinated option, and her guest does not drink caffeine. So she had to choose the peach apricot.
Wow, they said fuck Mormons.
yeah.
Wow.
They said
Fuck
no
pregnant
Mormons
people.
at Cupcake Cafe.
They said, wow.
And the Queen said there was not even a rooibos tea offered.
I'm sorry. Not even a rooibos?
Exactly.
That's a triple ding.
Okay. There was not. So also too, when you go to tea houses, they have like, just like if you go to a wine place, like each one, she said that there wasn't a description of the tea. So usually you get a menu with like, this has notes of this or this and
it's
that.
like peachy. It's like floral. It's like, none of that.
This place, they literally have a tray with 7 options. You can sniff it, but there's no description.
I'm sorry. I'm just like imagining people. I don't like. I would rather have written descriptions because I don't really want people like
sticking
sniffing
their nose.
stuff.
Like, I'm like, how many noses have been in this
I
tea?
feel like the tea that they have on the tea tray that you can sniff is not the
different than what you're
tea
being
because
served.
it's like it is loose leaf tea.
But I will
whatever.
say it feels undignified for
I
tea
agree.
to have to be sniffing
And
stuff.
these are ladies.
And these are we're ladies here. We're at the tea.
So the queen said that Cupcake Cafe needs at least 4 to 5 more teas for some choice.
At the very least.
At the very least. Then they got tea, but they weren't given any milk. And when the waiter never came after they got the tea, so they had to get up and ask the waiter to give them milk.
Undignified.
Oh my gosh.
Once again.
How dare they?
How
And
dare
then,
they? And
guess
tip
what?
ahead of time? And you're not even bringing me the milk?
And when they got it, it was steamed milk, which is weird. And it was given to them in paper cups.
What?
No, not at the tea.
Which makes me think,
Mm-hmm.
as someone who's now a tea expert,
Yeah.
which makes me think that it's just a practice that they have. Like, they don't give milk with their tea because they were like, oh, shoot, I got to scramble and like find a cup to put this milk in. You didn't have another little...
Right, because I'm
A
like, if
little
you're a
tea
tea house, you gotta be stocked up with cups.
That's what I'm saying. They have China out the wazoo, I feel.
Right?
Mm.
You should have at least a little
What'd
metal
she
Yeah,
cup.
no milk pitchers or nothing. Yeah.
Were there any comments about the actual state of the cups to China? Are we getting there?
We're getting there.
Oh, I'm
okay.
so pumped.
We're getting there. The tea, and you must know that the teapots were served 20 seconds after the food.
She doesn't like that. She
No,
says
she
you
needs to
gotta
have a
have
couple
2 cups
sips.
of tea
Yeah,
first.
at least.
So that's a big ding.
As for China and plates and all that stuff, they had huge dinner plates, not the small plates that was, that is typical for tea. And, and
I'm about to get on Yelp. I'm about to get on Yelp, like,
which is, again, it's not normal for afternoon tea. You don't get these big plates,
Yeah.
right? You get small plates to go with your small whatever. Okay. For food, she got chicken salad on a pretzel bun, egg salad on a croissant, a cucumber sandwich, and a tuna melt because she doesn't eat salmon. She said all the sandwiches were dry.
Oh no.
how do you?
All the
I'm
sandwiches
sorry,
are dry.
Those are mayo-based salads.
Mhm.
Yeah.
How is it dry?
How are you serving a dry chicken salad sandwich?
She said the pretzel bun chicken salad sandwich was not fresh, and it tasted like it was on day 4 or 5.
Oh my!
Ugh.
And the bread to filling
not serve
ratio was crazy. I'm going to show you a photo of the bread to filling ratio.
Way
Which you
too
know
much
what
bread
I
up
mean?
top.
Like, that is a standard pretzel bun. Like, there's a lot of, but then again, it's like, why would you put that on a pretzel bun?
For afternoon tea, no
Yeah.
less.
Also, a bad pretzel bun is really
Bad.
because I love a pretzel
Me
bun.
too.
But when it's stale, if it's dry,
Yeah, you
it
can't eat it.
completely
Yeah.
defeats the purpose of the pretzel bun.
Agreed.
She said all items were flavored with only salt and pepper and lacked flavor. So, like, no garlic powder,
Can I
no
ask a
onion.
quick question?
Mhm.
What?
The queen, let me tell you, the queen
we
is
don't know.
the
Okay.
queen is white,
Okay.
but yo,
There's more. Okay.
Okay.
but the queen is white. But usually in an egg salad, you put in
You put a salt. You put a pepper.
put in cayenne,
some chives.
some
paprika,
chives, some
like,
dill.
Yeah.
Okay. She said she took a bite. So the queen says she took a bite out of everything because if she didn't, she would have been really hungry. But she didn't like anything. And she said maybe this is good for someone else, but not for her.
Mhm.
For scones, they
Oh,
each
God.
got one plain scone.
Plain, like, unflavored.
Yeah, not a flavored scone.
And
Not
only
even a lemon-
one.
and not
And
even a
only one each.
Lemon poppy is like kind of the bare minimum we can do.
So are we dinging? Are we dinging?
This is a ding.
Yeah,
but,
this
like,
is a major
To
ding.
me, the whole place is a ding.
Yeah.
Her guest said her scone was dry. But the queen said her scone was fine with the clotted cream and jam, but it wasn't enough jam or clotted cream to cover both sides.
And was it individual jams and clotted creams, or were they sharing one?
They were sharing.
Oh, God.
Ding, ding, ding.
Wow.
The waiter never came back to check on them, so they had to get up
Again?
and ask for butter. When they got the butter, it was several butter packets, and they were cold as bricks.
No, you want that whipped fancy butter.
Or at least let it sit out for a little while.
Yeah,
like,
well,
They had to warm the butter up with their hands.
Wow. They could have warmed it up with a steamed milk.
Well,
but it's in a paper cup.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
so
Dings all around.
dings all around. For sweets, they had 2 sweets each.
Okay.
A small shoe puff and a macaroon.
But this is the Cupcake Cafe.
That's what I'm saying. You think? Even get a mini cupcake?
Well,
Right?
bitch.
How are we having 2 desserts and not one is a cupcake? We're at the Cupcake Cafe.
Also, I'm sorry, shoe pastry doesn't count as, like, it has to have something else. Like,
I'm
She-
disturbed.
Remember that the queen says you need at least 4 little desserts.
Yeah.
they gave him 2.
They gave him 2.
And not a cupcake.
And guess what? On the menu, which she showed the screenshot of the menu of the pre-selected meal, it said they were going to get a chocolate-covered strawberry. Chocolate-covered strawberry was not there. Since the waiter never checked in on them, they had to go up to the waiter.
This is
and
a third time.
This is
that
the
they're
third
going up to
time
the
and
waiter.
ask what happened to the strawberry. The waiter said they didn't have any strawberries and they were given an extra savory substitution. But the queen called BS because everything on the table was pre-selected from the menu. So you didn't give them a fucking substitution. You lied.
You lied.
Yeah. Don't promise me a chocolate-covered strawberry and then I am chocolate-covered strawberry list. I'm going to be very upset.
That's what I'm saying. Because that's
Yeah.
a luxury.
And guess what? Elise, you were so on the money because the queen said at a place called the Cupcake Cafe, how do you not even serve a cupcake? They had to buy an additional cupcake for $4.50. And they bought one cupcake and split it because it was her friend's birthday and they wanted a
Not
cupcake
her
at the
birthday.
cupcake. They wanted a cupcake at the Cupcake Cafe. And guess what, guys? Cupcake, queen said it was mid.
Wow.
The service was bad and it wasn't even that busy and they had 3 different waiters there. So this video got 508 likes and 6.3 million views.
Ooh.
As it deserved.
She said
508 or 508,000?
508,000 likes.
Okay, because I was about to be like, the ratio on that is crazy.
No.
You gotta go run
It
that up.
got 500,000 likes, but 6.3 million views. And she says she wouldn't recommend that place to anyone, that they should probably not do tea service because whatever. But she asked another guest at the Cupcake Cafe, and the guest was like, my cappuccino was delicious. So, she's saying
been a
like,
bad time.
she's like, if you like coffee, if you're into coffee, maybe try the Cupcake Cafe. But as for tea,
Yeah.
it's
does
a
not
no
approve.
for me. So I want you guys, now that you guys dinged it, out of a 5-star rating, how many stars do you think this got?
I feel like she's going to give it a 1 because she has manners. She has etiquette. She's a tea lady.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I think she's 1-starring the Cupcake Cafe.
0.5 stars.
Wow.
Okay. See, that's actually extra petty, and I love her for that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Because
she
she
said
could
you
have
don't
just
even,
said no stars.
yeah, you don't even get 1 star. Yeah, and that's so true.
You
You
know?
could just say like no star
stars.
rating.
I would never come back. You said 0.5 because I'm a lady.
Mm-hmm.
So, guys, thoughts?
Has Cupcake Cafe reached out and responded?
That's the next segment, but I want to hear what your
Okay.
thoughts are now.
My thoughts are, I'm sorry, how dare they? I'd
Yeah.
say it again. Like, that, I would be disappointed. I would be flabbergasted. I would be, because the standards that she's setting are not that high. I'm sorry. It's nothing. I don't think she's saying anything crazy.
No. I think that what we're seeing here is a place that offers tea as kind of an afterthought, and they're not really thinking about what goes into the true tea experience. Because it seems like if they also sell coffee, they also do cupcakes. The cupcakes are
It's too big.
separate. I think it seems like maybe the tea operation is not the front and center thing
Yeah.
that they do.
It's a classic case of doing too much.
Yeah.
truly. And like, I feel like they maybe were like, oh, this is a cute way to like make some money from people who like want to do a cute little tea thing, but we're not getting enough of that business for us to try and like put effort into.
Yeah.
it.
And
I don't like
another
that.
little shady thing was that the queen said, I don't know why I expected more from a place in a mall But
I've gone to tea at the mall.
but she said again the decor was like whack, like they weren't doing anything. Again, the China. Again, it's just more to the saying of like tea is not their first priority.
Sure.
And if it's not your first priority, maybe don't do it.
But it seems like cupcakes aren't even their first priority.
Well,
and it's called Cupcake Cafe, which is a whack ass name, I will say.
Yeah. Well, if at anything that's being offered at the Cupcake Cafe does need to come with a cupcake.
100%.
So it is wild for them to do the tea and not have a cupcake situation. Again, I will say I've gone to very cute teas at the mall. So
yeah, it doesn't matter.
It just depends. You just gotta
Malls can be whatever
the
they
decor.
want.
Yeah.
Put some time into the decor. And tea is something where it is like, again, people get very, very into it, as evidenced by this woman's page. So if you're not going to do it right, maybe don't be offering the tea.
It's also one of those things that is specific. Like, you're supposed to steep green tea at a certain temperature for like a certain amount of time, or it's not done right. And same with black tea, and it's different. And it's like, it seems like something you have to care about, and that people like our queen do care about.
So
I'm livid for her.
Yeah, let's talk about the backlash, guys.
I'm shaking.
Cupcake Cafe responded.
Oh, no.
Cupcake Cafe posted a reply saying that the Queen of Afternoon Tea's review had some good points, but it's mostly invalid because the Queen's fans have been bullying her. The caption has trigger warning, suicide, and depression. Interesting.
From the owner of Cupcake Cafe?
From the owner of Cupcake Cafe.
So the Queen's fans have been bullying the owner of Cupcake Cafe.
This is what she alleges.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
She said the Queen could have asked for more cream and strawberries. Asked for
Could've
more
gone
cream.
up for a fourth time.
And the strawberries were not up to their quality, so they didn't offer. But also, again, the Cupcake Cafe owner said the Queen's negative review was only made because she owns a competing tea house in the area and is just jealous. So let's watch a few minutes of the Cupcake Cafe's response.
Okay. Because the introduction of her also owning a tea house.
Yeah, I'm a little shook by the idea
like
that the Queen of Tea owns the tea house.
So by now you've probably seen the TikTok video that's gone viral with the 1-star scathing review of our high tea. And it made us pretty sad too. But what we didn't realize until about midnight last night was that it was actually posted by a competing business in Kitchener, which honestly made the entire situation laughable. Now, what's not laughable is getting your friends and followers to send us hundreds of 1-star reviews, nasty emails, and DMs telling us to go kill ourselves. That never okay, and I'm gonna get to that a little bit later. But let me start off by saying that we take our reviews really seriously. I said in my stories yesterday that all of our reviews, whether they be good or bad, I take as an opportunity for feedback and improvement. So I'm gonna start off by actually addressing this video and telling you where we made a couple of mistakes and where we can improve. Starting off with the scone, Devonshire, cream, and jam presentation. Now, normally when we serve our jam and scones for one, we serve it in the smaller white dishes that you saw in the video. When there is 2 or more people, we always serve them in slightly larger gold dishes, which as you couldn't see were not in the video. That was our mistake. The person who was prepping it must have forgotten and didn't give the right amount of cream or jam. Either way, it's okay. It was a small mistake, and you can always ask for more cream and jam. That's what I don't understand. The second thing in this video is, yes, the chocolate dip strawberry was missing from their top tier. Now, in the morning, when we were looking at the strawberries that we had purchased just the night before, we noticed that they weren't in perfect health and condition. You know, sometimes strawberries can kind of start to get mushy and turn overnight. So we decided not to serve it because quality and freshness is important to us, despite what the video may say. And when we served the tea, the staff member who was serving it kindly asked the guests if they would like a replacement for the chocolate dip strawberry, if they would like a replacement dessert, and they actually politely declined. So there was an opportunity there for them to receive a substitute dessert because, like I said, we were missing the chocolate dip strawberry, but that was something on our end that we made a mistake with. Again, quality is really important for us, and we're open and transparent with our clients, so if something is ever not perfect, we just tell them, and we hope they'll be understanding and accept a substitution. Now, addressing the whole stale bread concept, that was obviously totally inaccurate. Here's actually the receipt of the bread that was purchased that very morning. So.
Okay, I have a couple things. Number one, you could have just asked. It's like, well, the point For her doing a review, the point is to review what
was there
served to you initially. So if you are like, obviously she could have gotten more, but for the purposes of a review, she's reviewing what you are served without asking.
It's also just not like a way of taking accountability. Being like, yeah, we goofed, but like you could have asked us to like do better. Is like being like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like you could have not annoyed me.
Yeah, exactly. And on the issue of the chocolate dipped strawberry, if you know that your menu says chocolate dipped strawberry and the strawberries aren't going to be there, that tray should come out with a cupcake on it. You're the cupcake 100%. Cafe.
So 100%. She says for that specific point, they're like, well, why would we give our cupcakes out for free?
But they're not free because she paid for the tea.
Well,
there should be a cupcake included regardless.
I 100% agree.
But if the strawberry is missing, then put out the cupcake.
Also, I'm so sorry. Does it take that much to go to the grocery store and get a case of strawberries? Like
a new thing of strawberries. That's exactly what I was thinking.
Like, also, like, I'm so sorry. You know how like Olive Garden, shout out, used to come with like when you shout out Olive Garden.
Olive Garden's listening.
When they used to have like when the bill came, they gave you little chocolate mints.
Yeah.
Remember this? I think it should come with a little mini cupcake at the end.
Absolutely.
Little mini cupcake. Boom. I should work in marketing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just don't think that like her being like, well, we asked if they wanted a substitution. The substitution should already be set up because they know that you're supposed to be getting a dessert that you're not getting. So I don't buy that. I think that's a great point about that, like, not having strawberries is one of the most easily solvable problems.
I know, that was one of those things.
This is capitalism. Even though you're in Canada, it's still strawberry season.
Yeah, you can get strawberries.
You can get strawberries.
You can get strawberries anywhere. And literally. Like, or make chocolate covered apples or chocolate covered.
Do something different.
Do something different.
But I actually think, to Lisa's point, it's like, they shouldn't have to be like, hey, we're out of this. What do you want? They should be like, hey, unfortunately, like we don't have the chocolate covered strawberries today. We have two options for if you want to do something savory instead, we have this, boom. If we want to do something sweet instead, we have this, boom.
Yeah.
Like, would you like one?
And we have a cupcake.
You asked if like, so the woman who owns the cafe is Muslim, and I think she's of South Asian descent. So that was like also some racial context. This is just my thing. I've been monitoring the situation for a couple days.
Thank you, Melanie.
She says, thank you.
Thank you for doing the work. No, she's doing the work.
She's doing the work. She's saying, right, she goes on for that video because that video is like almost 6 minutes. She's saying she's getting bullied. She's getting whatever. People are telling her to kill herself. I'm not going to say that no one said that.
Sure.
I'm not going to say that that hasn't happened. I'm just going to say from my dive into the comments, I haven't seen that. That is not the Queen of Afternoon Tea's vibe of like, this place fucking, you guys should go kill your... No. It's like, you guys aren't doing this thing that I'm into well.
Also, that whole thing where she's like, yeah, you're sending your fans after us. Do you think that our queen, the Queen of Tea, was like, yeah, go and make sure you give this place like 1-star reviews and tell her to kill herself? Like, that's insane. I'm sorry.
And also, she wasn't like, this place is ugly. Her critiques, like you guys said, were fair.
Yeah. Like,
yeah.
And also, she agreed. Like,
people are allowed to give you a bad review,
100%.
and that's not bullying. She came to your place and she gave you the review. Now, I do want to know more about the allegation that the Queen of Tea owns a competitor.
Yeah, we're getting competitor. So let's talk about the backlash to the backlash. Again, so to the comments to that video that you guys saw, again, the top comments are all fair to me. To me, you know, in my experience, it says, somebody said, I literally know nothing about afternoon tea, and I think the Queen of Afternoon Tea had super valid points. The milk served in paper cups, giant dinner plates for finger food, 1 scone per person. And then somebody said, again, these are just a whole lot of excuses for what was visibly poor quality food service. Somebody says, you can always ask for more. Who would ask for more? Whatever. I've been following the Queen of Afternoon Tea for a while. I didn't know she, quote, owned a tea house. She doesn't disclose it. She doesn't advertise it, whatever. What you do see, what I've seen and like what research has comes up is that she does have ties to the Queen of Hearts Cafe. From what the internet has said and from my research is that she used to own a place called Queen of Hearts Cafe and that she sold it to her friend. But she has not given that place a 5-star rating. When she reviews it, she's like, listen, I'm biased, whatever.
She's reviewed this place.
She's reviewed the Queen of Hearts Cafe and she says, I'm biased because the owner's my friend.
Yeah.
And she made her like top 5 tea rooms that she'd been to out of the 55. That's not in the top 5. She put it as an honorable mention because it hits all the things that she does. Okay. Also, it's important to note that the Queen of Hearts Cafe is an hour-long drive or 70 kilometers away from the Cupcake Cafe.
Not even a competitor.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. Is that even a competitor?
I guess it's a competitor if you're somebody who drives around rating
tea houses.
Yeah.
Well,
you know, like if that's your job.
But also, that is also null and void because the Queen has given several places 4 to 5 star reviews in the same area, very close to the Cupcake Cafe. So it's not,
Yeah, so she's not routinely down, like, voting places that would potentially be competitors to Queen of Hearts Cafe.
Yeah.
In other responses, people say that the Cupcake Cafe has doxed the Queen, showed her picture, said her name, revealed her.
Oh, no.
So that's not cool.
That is such a disproportionate response to someone being like, I had a bad tea service.
Let's say for argument's sake that she did own that tea house, the Queen of Hearts, whatever.
Yeah.
That doesn't is she still not qualified to review? Yeah. A lot of examples that people have argued, because again, this blew up. There's a lot of response videos.
That makes her more qualified to review. She owns a freaking tea house.
Anyway. A lot of people I've said, pointed to Gordon Ramsay of that's someone who owns several restaurants.
So he knows what he's doing.
So is his opinion not valid because he owns her? No, that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and if she's in this world of tea, she is gonna have relationships with some of the people who own the tea houses. She's gonna she's in the tea world, Yeah.
To me, she is super qualified to know what a good tea room is like if she has owned one in the past. This is her passion.
Finally, as we wrap up this thing, it's important to note that the Cupcake Cafe is officially posting through it. They have posted several videos after that real video, after that weird video that we just watched. And she posted several times. 2 of those videos have been asking for audience opinions on which mini milk/creamer pitchers they should get for their tea room.
Okay.
Showing options. It's which one? Option 1, 2, or 3.
To me, that's the way you post through it, but it seems like there's probably some other shit going on.
And then one video is titled "Why We Advertise High Tea Instead of Afternoon Tea." Here is the screenshot of it, and this is supposedly their thing with 2 scones and the gold thing, whatever.
Yeah.
That did not look like what Miss Queen
was. It sure didn't.
Okay.
No.
And this is what they say: We chose to advertise it as high tea for search engine optimization purposes only. When we ran metrics in the Canadian market, people search for high tea more than afternoon tea when searching for special occasions. Since the 2 are widely interchangeable in the Canadian market, we decided to advertise as high tea online, but keep it listed as afternoon tea on our website, etc. So no, we don't serve steak and potatoes, but that would be delicious too, smiley face.
Oh.
While I do understand, because again, I have seen my own tea-loving mom, I think just thinks that high tea means, fancy tea.
Yeah.
Because I know that my own mom thinks of high tea, I think people just think that sounds fancy.
Fancy, yeah.
So I get that, but at the end of the day, I think not caring about the distinction being real shows that they're not about the tea life on the level that the Queen of Tea is gonna, the Queen of Tea clocked that they're not really about it, and I think them caring more about the SEO than about the accuracy shows that they're not really about the tea life.
Interesting that the Queen is being the realistic one in the situation, and the cafe is saying, let them eat cake, essentially.
Wow.
Let them eat cupcakes.
But they don't give the cupcakes.
But they don't give the cupcakes for free. So that, I think, that has been our discourse. And I typically, and I think people don't want to take the side of the reviewer.
No, definitely
but
not.
sometimes the reviewer, makes sense. And in the next video, the Queen, I will say that the Queen discloses don't ever leave a 1-star review if you haven't gone there. And people gave her the feedback that hey, before you give bad feedback, you should tell the owners of the place that you're going to do that.
Because Keith Lee does that, right? Does he give them a heads up?
I don't know if he does that anymore, but he does it when it's good so that they're prepped because of the Keith Lee effect. But so she went to this tea house in Vegas and she gave a kind of okay review, but said that the price that they're asking for versus what they give is not comparable.
Mm-hmm.
And she sent that to the owner, and the owner was like, I think I should be charging more. And she's like, look, see, this is what happens when you talk to the owner first. Like,
I don't know that they necessarily, that she needs to do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm not sure I agree. I stand with the Queen of High Tea.
I do too.
I do too. Yeah.
We do too.
We do too.
Let's-
All right.
yes.
Should we get into this week's grass hole?
Let's do it.
All right. Taylor, our final segment every week is we declare a grass hole of the week.
So
This is the
excited.
person who needs to log off the most. This week's grass hole is from the world of tattoo TikTok.
Oh boy.
Poof, on the other side.
On the completely opposite vibes
Yeah.
of the Queen of High Tea. Actually, like everything about this story is completely opposite vibes.
I can't wait.
So the way we're going to do this is I would say that this grass hole, there are like 2 phases to this grass hole.
Mhm.
After phase 1, you guys might not feel that this person is a grass hole.
Sure.
You guys, and that's okay. I think that we will all get to the
After
grass
phase 2.
holery
Mhm.
advances exponentially in
Love
phase 2. So this story starts with a tattoo artist named Ella, who previously went by @anarchist_tattoos, but spoiler alert, she has since changed all of her social media and some of her accounts are gone and she no longer is @anarchist_tattoos.
Wow. Very
So-
anarchist of her.
And now on TikTok, she is einks931. 20,000 followers, comments are off. So that's where we're
Coward.
headed.
Coward.
That's where we're headed
Coward.
to.
Coward.
New username,
Grow up and take a comment.
comments off. She does tattoos at Pure Heart Tattoo in Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Wow.
And the drama all started with a video she posted about a week ago from the account that was still known as Anarchist Tattoos at
Okay.
that time.
Here we go.
So I was doing a tattoo today, and the first like 20-30 minutes were completely fine. Then after that, this dude starts bleeding profusely. He's bleeding so bad that the blood is actually kind of like pooling up and like running down his arm. At first, like, I kind of lightheartedly was like, hey dude, like, have you been drinking alcohol? Are you on any blood thinners? Because you're bleeding like a fuck ton. His girlfriend was with him and was sitting like 2 or 3 feet away from me in a chair. And she put her 2 cents in. She said, babe, I think maybe you should tell them. And I'm like, tell me? What do I need to know? So I'm staring at the dude and I'm like, speak. And he says, yeah, I have the HIV. What? So I rip my gloves off and I go over to the paperwork section and I'm looking at this piece of paper and I'm flipping it every single direction, upside down, backwards, like to try to find where he made the little check mark that he had a communicable disease, and nothing was checked. He actually check marked that he did not have any diseases. Yeah, at this point, this dude's already bled all over my shit. Bled on the floor and didn't notify me that he was positive. I was so angry. I walked over to my booth and I told him, I said, get the fuck up. I said, get the fuck up. I need to clean.
A lot going on here.
Truly.
Truly a lot. But basically the way the story ends is the tattoo artist, Ella, says that they then throw out all of their equipment, that they throw out their chair, all of this stuff.
The chair.
The chair.
So, right. So
The
before...
equipment, like, okay, but
before we get into it, there's just like a couple pieces of information that perhaps not everyone will know.
yeah.
So number one, modern HIV, first of all, she calls they. I'm
HIV.
actually not sure.
Their
They don't say
pronouns,
their
yeah.
pronouns
Yeah.
anywhere online, so I'm not 100% sure.
Ella says.
So Ella says that this person revealed this by saying they have the HIV.
Yeah, crazy.
That shit gave me like.
So the way modern HIV treatment works, though, if you are being treated, you basically become undetectable and you can't pass HIV on. That's that's the way it works now. So it's probably reasonable to assume that this person is in treatment of some kind.
Sure.
Second, Tattoo artists are trained to treat every single person who comes in as if they have a communicable
100%.
disease. They take this thing called a bloodborne pathogen certification because the thing is...
Licensed tattoo artist.
Truly.
Yeah, exactly. But... And like license, what's required varies by state to state, but really you should take this bloodborne pathogen certification. And if you did, it would teach you that the most dangerous people that would potentially come in are people who are positive for something like HIV or Hep C and they don't know. So you really have to treat every single person
as
like
if they could have it and not know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So at one point, Ella's like, I would have taken completely different precautions, but it's like, that's actually not, that shouldn't be how you operate as a tattoo artist. And then also, it is illegal to refuse a tattoo to someone because they have HIV under the ADA.
Yeah.
You can ask them to disclose on the form. There are certain conditions you can refuse a tattoo to, but it's only stuff where it would be dangerous for the person receiving the tattoo to be tattooed. So, you know, again, you can have it on the form. That said, is it probably best to disclose on the form?
Yeah, sure.
For sure. So, with that information, how do we feel after video 1 about Ella?
I still feel like they could have like disinfected it. Like they didn't have to throw everything away. Just still unprofessional. Like even making of it, I don't know. I'm like,
I think making a video about it is super unprofessional because you think this is the first time this has happened to any tattoo artist ever.
Yeah.
It's also the year the year of our Lord 2024.
Yeah.
Like,
Like this is
also,
weird.
they said that they took off their gloves and went over to the form. So you were wearing gloves. So you weren't. So you were protected against getting. You know what I mean? Like the parts of you that were touching this person were protected against coming into contact with their blood.
And also their blood would have to get into your blood.
Exactly.
Like,
that's what I was
100%.
also going to say was like, even if they did have, even if it was detectable or spreadable, like you can't get it from tattooing. Like, geez.
Something about them saying the HIV with the accent that they have, and I'm not hating it. I love a Tennessee accent. With that particular accent, just, it was like, 1991.
I feel like I'm like, listening. Yeah, exactly.
You know
1991.
what I mean? Like,
so, tattoo artist TikTok goes nuts over this video, basically saying the stuff that I just outlined. Like, this shouldn't be an issue if you are doing the things that you need to be doing. Yeah. A lot of people who are HIV positive start getting into the conversation, and they're saying like, hey, this this promotes a lot of like stereotypes that have been outdated for a really fucking long time.
So long.
About HIV. Like, this is really harmful. It's, this is the reason that people don't disclose on
100%. It's a great reason to not ever tell anyone.
Like, yeah. So that discussion is happening. Now, anyone listening at home, if you weren't convinced, if you said, I don't think Ella's a grasshole for this, I have compassion for freaking out, realizing that you maybe were exposed to this, whatever, maybe it wasn't the best behavior, etc. That discussion is happening.
Sure. These are also people who, will go on a plane without wearing a mask because they don't care about getting exposed to a certain other virus, but that's a totally different story, I guess.
Yeah. Well, but anyone who's on the fence about Ella's grassholery, how would you feel if I told you that they made this shit up?
It's not real.
Nothing shocks me anymore.
Not true.
Nothing shocks me anymore.
It's not true.
How do we know it's not true?
Because, this big discourse is happening. Ella's getting a ton of heat. So then Ella eventually reveals in the comments of video 1, which is gone now, so we can't see them. That's where they first put out, I made this up for clickbait, and I'm sorry. Yes. Then they post an apology, which has also since been deleted, but I found it embedded in a YouTube of another tattoo artist's YouTube called Treacly Tattoos. She sounds lovely. We're going to watch like a second of that. And if you hear a random British woman's voice, that is Treacly Tattoos commentary, because that's the only place I could find this video.
Okay.
People, didn't they tell us when we were like extremely young, like whatever you put on the internet is there forever. So like make sure that.
But but not Gen Z. I feel like they
don't even know how to
that.
use computers, but like,
well,
that's a totally different story.
It's a different story.
That was a clickbait video about HIV. That being said, it was a very poor judgment video. I wasn't exactly thinking about those that I was hurting as I was making the video. And for that, I'm 100% in deeply, genuinely sorry. I guess I didn't really think the impact it would have on others, and I wasn't really thinking about what I was saying and how it could harm others.
So, yeah.
They could have put a period right at, I wasn't really thinking. I wasn't really thinking, period.
When you're saying I made a clickbait video about HIV, that's really bad. I'm going to go ahead and say that's really bad.
It's really bad.
In the comments of that apology, which again has since been deleted, one person says, what was the point though? Clickbait for what? For hate views? I'm just confused on how anyone would even slightly think that making a fake video like that was acceptable. Ella then responds, like I said, it was a poor judgment choice. Everyone makes mistakes. I'm trying to own mine. Reminder that now this video is deleted. The old video is deleted. Yeah. They've changed all of their handles.
Yeah.
Like,
so
you're
are
not
you trying to own it?
Yeah, like
So
you're not owning shit.
Yeah. And also I was thinking, as someone who has gotten tattooed, I'm like, for someone to bleed like that just doesn't, I don't know. I'm not saying it's never happened, but I'm like, the scene that they were describing seemed like very unlikely to me in general.
You know what's so interesting is that even when they were like, so I ripped off my gloves and I looked at the form and I'm holding it every which way and I'm flipping it trying to see like what, I was like, that sounds like a liar.
Yeah.
So trying to tell a story that sounds believable by adding details that
also
they don't
saying
need.
that this HIV positive person referred to themselves as having the HIV.
The HIV.
Yeah.
Was so okay, to wrap this all up, Ella admitted that this was a clickbait video. I looked at Ella's page. Their videos, now I'm like, none of these seem real. These are just a couple of the titles. My client took a shit in my chair. I called the cops on my client. My client called the cops on me.
Wait, did they throw out that chair?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
Because that's a biohazard. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I would feel worse about the chair that somebody shit.
You can't be E. coli undetectable. You know what I mean? Like
exactly. So, for the crime of lying about HIV for clicks, the tattoo artist formerly known as Anarchist Tattoos, go touch grass.
You need to dig your hands in the soil. You need to pull it up. You need to feel it in your fingers.
And they're from Murfreesboro. What?
It was called like
Murfreesboro,
Tennessee. There's a lot of grass out there that you can
touch it.
The Appalachians. Come on.
Touch it.
Wow.
Touch the grass.
Taylor, this was a wonderful episode.
This was truly so fun. Thank you
were
guys so
incredible.
Much.
Thank you for going on these varied journeys with us. Why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you, follow you on Twitter and beyond?
Sure. So I do stand up all around these days. You can come see me in New York or LA. I post about it on my social medias, which are all my first and last name Taylor at my first and last name Taylor Garron on Twitter and TikTok and Instagram. Yeah, I'm fleeting, but I'm there. So
she's a funny follow, guys.
Yeah. She's a funny follow.
Nice.
And speaking of funny follows, you can follow this podcast at Go Touch Grass Pod on everything, and you can follow me on Instagram at Pandalise and TikTok at Elise Navidad.
Yes, and as always, you can follow me at Millie Tamaris on Twitter. I'm there with Taylor with Damage Mental
down
Health.
with the ship.
Yeah.
We're going down with the ship. Mm-hmm. We're playing violin on the sinking ship.
100%.
And you can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Millie_Tamaris. Till then, go touch grass.
Should we open up a tea shop?
I know what the standards are. I could do it.
That was a HeadGum podcast.
Hi, I'm Caleb Herron, host of the So True podcast, now on HeadGum. Every week, me and my guests get into it, and we get down to what's really going on. I ask them what's so true to them, how they got to where they are in life, a bunch of other questions, and we also may or may not test their general trivia knowledge, whether it's one of my sworn enemies like Brittany Broski or Drew Wallow, or my actual biological mother, Kelly. My guests and I are just after the truth, and if we find it, great, and if not, no worries. So subscribe to So True on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pocket Casts, or wherever you get your podcasts, and watch video episodes on the So True with Caleb Herron YouTube channel. New episodes drop every Thursday. Love ya.